Well, I think we'll start if you could explain in very general terms, what is the global framework for climate services?
Well, I was happy to be asked by the UN system and the World Meteorological Organization to co-chair a high-level panel that issued this report that we called Climate Knowledge for Action. It's a thick report that is explaining that indeed global climate services is achievable for all people, irrespective of where they are and how poor they are, and would and will mean that everybody will at least have the right to know, have the possibility to know what will hit them in terms of climate variability and change, and that will make them more robust and able to adapt to such climate variability and change.
Is that not already happening, or is it not happening across the board? I mean, why the need for this report now?
Well, listen, it is happening in the developed part of the world. I'm a Norwegian. There are great weather services, but also climate services in my country. We're very rich and robust countries. So North America, Europe, even China, in most of the rich countries, most of the big countries have made big progress. But those who are hit first and hardest by climate change are really those poor and vulnerable who did nothing to produce climate change, and there really the climate services are often inexistent. Could be also because they don't even have a meteorological service that can receive information from the global climate centers, from the regional climate centers, from the tens of thousands of scientists who can now predict a lot, not only on the global level, but down to the local level in many countries. So that's why we need, as part of climate justice, we need to have a system where all communities get climate information, have a user interface where they can critique and understand the information, and then that somebody will be able to take action on behalf of that information.
Is the financing available to put such a plan into action? I heard your World Bank colleague talking about there being no reason not to invest in such a system. Is there the investment available? Is it likely to be coming forward anytime soon?
There is some investment, but it's again, to me, it seems too little, too late for some. What we found was that 6 countries, some of the most climate vulnerable, like Haiti, Somalia, Sierra Leone, has no climate or weather services at all. I think those 6 will indeed have a program, and the World Bank and others will assist that to build up something. Then there are another 65 countries that have very weak services, many of them in Africa, for example. Hopefully also they will little by little get the basic expertise in country to receive what is coming from the regional centers that are now planned for all regions in the world, that will be serviced by the global supercomputers and climate centers that are in Beijing, in Tokyo, in Washington, D.C., in Europe, and say, yes, we will share our information free of charge. It is really in the poor and developing countries where the big investment have to be. And is it big? No, not that big. We said $75 million a year in 8 to 10 years, and we have the whole system up and running globally.
I mean, we're obviously, everyone's working here to find a global solution, find out what the global problem is, look for the global solutions. But are we still working as 200-odd separate countries? Or how close are we to working globally, really globally?
I think we're making strides in the right direction. What we saw was that this was adopted. I mean, our report, which was a united report of experts, which includes President Chissano of Mozambique, President Lagos of Chile, ministers from many countries, experts from all over the world. We agreed in a unanimous recommendation. And I have myself traveled to China, to India, to the United States, Europe, Africa, Latin America, Asia. And all where I have gone, we've had enthusiastic support. Actually, part of the problem seems to be now we have an area on the climate change arena that everybody agrees in, and therefore it gets a little attention, and maybe therefore it gets too little resources due to the attention. But it will come, I'm optimistic.